Okay, YouTube says that I'm live. Um, gonna check that, make sure that is correct. There we go. Cool, like a 10-second delay per the usual. Hey everyone, if you're joining, I'm trying to get things going. Also, sorry if my frames are dropping a little bit. I keep having this problem when I start streams. I don't know. I'm sure I've set something up wrong, but we'll get there. All right, what am I doing? I want to tweet this out real quick. So if other people want to join, they can join. Um, yeah, but we're gonna be talking about single fetch. It'll be fun. Should be fun. Yeah, I got a little bit of work I need to do on the docs and stuff. And geez, I had a little bit more people like this than I thought, which is good. I don't know. Sometimes just tweet down the void, and sometimes people actually like what you're doing. Okay, cool. And then someone quote tweet this. I guess I can just start sharing my screen so y'all aren't just staring at my face. Cool. That is. Oh my gosh, this is totally messed up. Hold on, I gotta fix this. How do I do studio mode? And then if I wanted to do the screen share, okay, I can change the size here. I don't know why all the like. Oh, you know what? I actually do know why. I think it's probably because my display is messed up. Okay, so I'm doing like all this in real time, which is terrible. Okay, updating the display here. Yep, that's what did it. That makes a lot of sense. Boom, boom. There I am. Yeah, you can see me seeing myself. This is great. Good. Just infinite Brooks. Going live. Then what is it? Is it like a red? Oh man, I should actually know this. It's this thing, right? This means recording, right? Cool. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. Let me see if I can close this. I don't need this. Don't need this. Don't you guys don't need to see all my YouTube stuff. You don't need to see my terrible YouTube recommendations either. Okay, cool. Here we are. I do need to make sure that I have it open though to see y'all's chats. Okay, I do. Cool. All right, sweet. So we are going to be talking about single fetch a little bit, which is a new remix kind of feature. It is unstable. So if you're like, oh my gosh, what single fetch? I haven't done this or anything yet. Like, no big deal. It's unstable. We're still working on a little bit of the API. Yeah, so that's cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what it is, but I have kind of three main things I want to do. So the remix.run actually does run on single fetch. You can tell because like if I go to any page, we get this like blog.data. Let me actually do a better example is like I'll go to our latest blog and you can see, yeah, incremental path to React 19 data. Uh, and it's this preview is like this really goofy format, which is like indigestible on its own. I mean, you can maybe try and figure out what that is. I don't know. That's like crazy stuff, right? And this is the data for everything. It's the data for slash blog and incremental path to React and everything. So that's the single fetch portion. Previously, hey Mohab, uh, welcome for joining, or thank you for joining. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Anyway, before like the way we would fetch is blog. With our nested routes, like blog would fetch whatever data it wants to fetch, and then incremental paths to React 19 or whatever would fetch whatever it wants to fetch. So everything was like it's all still parallelized, but basically every like segment of the URL would fetch its own thing. And so it was kind of multi-fetch, but that's kind of silly because if I just refresh this, you get a big HTML file, right? And you just like you got a single fetch, you got one thing. So we had these two disparate realities. If you're doing the MPA style multi-page app or like your first load, all your data is singly fetched. It's runs in parallel via the nested routing, which is great. But then as soon as you're doing client fetches, you're actually getting this like multi-fetch thing and you're just fetching the piece of the segment, which like sounds neat and cool, but it creates this disparity in paradigms, which is not good. Like Remix likes to have kind of the same mental model and paradigm. No matter if you're in like spa world or Mapal world or whatever. And yeah, it's just actually it's kind of harder to reason about and harder to do things like middleware and all sorts of stuff. So, new feature. I want to do a couple updates with the website, and a big reason I want to do an update, like it's already running on single fetch, but there's some new there's some migration steps and some better type safety and stuff, and I want to check that out. And then the other thing I want to do is there's this cool platform, website, tool, etc., called CodeMod, which is really cool. Which it looks like Mohab, do you work there? I don't know. You have it in your name parentheses CodeMod. Let me know. And so the React team is like using this for React 19, which is cool. So they have like a migration recipe, and it's got a bunch of different like a recipe can hold like a bunch of different code mod scripts or whatever, which will do specific things. So actually, this is a really simple one to understand. So this like replace string ref. Yeah, before if you got div ref with a string ref, which is like a really old React API, they're trying to get rid of, it will replace it with yeah, this version of it. That's good enough. So that's kind of how they're using it. Okay, cool. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'm not going to be developing any code mods. I am going to be using the where'd it go? The single fetch code mod that a single fetch. Yeah, here we go. Jacob Paris created it. Where's the actual recipe? Here it is. So Jacob has been in the React the remix community for a while. Yeah, let me actually go find him on Twitter. Jacob Paris, give him a follow, shout out, etc. Yeah, great guy. I've been working on just in the remix community for a while. He also runs the Molten Remix newsletter. It's like a community newsletter. Here we go. So he runs this. He's made a bunch of packages. He consults for a lot of companies doing remix isms and whatnot, and migrations and all sorts of fun stuff like that. And so he created these code mods. So I want to play around with him a little bit and just see if there's any feedback for him, as well as just see how they improve the process or yeah, what the process is like using them, and seeing if there's good places to put it in our docs. Yeah, so working on code mod, working on remix.run, and then going to work on our docs. And the reason I want to work on the docs is because we have, let me pull up a sticky just so I have these notes in front of me. I'm going to use one of these in a second, but I like these. So update or use single fetch code mod, code mod to update remix.run. So these are like to-dos and then follow-ups, I guess. Let Jacob know if there are improvements that can be made to the code mod. And then, yeah, the next thing I want to do is update the single fetch docs to trying to think what I want to say here, because basically these are good docs. They have a lot of information, but single fetch is like it's a breaking change, which is why it has a future flag. So going from not using single fetch to using single fetch can potentially break some things, and there is like a long-term migration path you have to do to get to like React Router 7. It's not like super complicated, and that's where the code mod really helps, but it's not really clear to people. We've had some people internally at Shopify like read through this and do a lot of work getting Hydrogen ready to use single fetch when it's stable. And the problem we run into, or they ran into, is it's not super clear what you have to do. Like they read the whole thing and they're like, "Oh, you have to do all this stuff. This is so much work. Like this feels in maybe anti remix spirit of like incremental, small incremental upgrades." So we're gonna fix that a little bit because all the info is there. It's just I think needs to be reordered a little bit and maybe clarified and maybe just called out a little bit better, like what you need to do to get on single fetch, what you need to do to get ready for like React Router 7, that kind of stuff. So update the single fetch docs to docs to have a more clear migration path. And then I'm gonna open up a PR for the new single fetch docs. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's what I want to work on, which is good. And yeah, so what do I need to get set up? I need, let's close some things I don't need. I don't need this open. Close Slacks. I don't need that open. Cool. So we'll open up the Remix website. We're gonna need that. Hey Arsh, thanks for joining. And then we're gonna open up the actual Remix. Yeah, okay. So let's get this on the left side. We'll get this one on the right. If you've never actually played with like our website and our docs, this will be like a really quick run through of how they work. So I'm gonna get this one running. Actually, let me make sure this is on main. I think that was on someone's branch. Okay. Also, yeah, I wonder if Pedro is gonna show up. I'll have a question for him. So Pedro, if you come, let me know. A question about streaming, not like a real question. All right, and then on this side, let me make sure I'm on the latest remix branch. And then I'm going to check out my own branch. We'll call it single fetch docs update. Okay. Cool. So I don't need to do anything on this side except for open up the single fetch MD. Cool. So this is like the doc. It's pretty simple. It's inside of docs/guides, and that directory. It's just a MD file. And then over here, if I'm actually, I'm running localhost 3000, I'm actually not going to even need this one open. Oh, wait, no, I will. I'm updating some things. Okay, right. Sorry. So if I open this up, and then I go to docs and I want to look at local, I can just switch to local. And now if I go to, this isn't going to work. I need to do this one. Yeah, single fetch. This is actually running the local docs. So I can change the name here to be something like, we'll change overview to be like, I don't know, testing. We won't see it immediately though, and the problem is because we have a server-side cache running, like an LRU cache running on the Remix website, so I have to actually rerun it, which is not ideal. So I just need to turn that off. And the way so now it says testing, which is great. Oop. So that's how I can get our local docs running, because basically all our docs are in like the Remix GitHub repository. They're very close to the code, which is nice. And then this just uses GitHub as a CMS to run it. And so this is how we can look at it locally. But I need to turn off the LRU cache. And we used to have a way to do this easily where I could just pass in, I'll try it again. I don't think it's going to work. We can do no cache, one or true. And then we can run npm run dev. And then this should make it to where the cache doesn't work, but I'm pretty sure the environment variables got messed up when we did the Vite upgrade, and we didn't notice and didn't fix it. So I don't think it's working, which is a bummer. So now I need to do something really dumb and manual. I need to fix this though. I'm not going to do it now because then I'll be distracted, but if someone wants to look into that and fix it, that'd be neat. So I think what I want is I want to go look up, let's just look up all RU cache. That should be good. Not blog, not conf. Also, please let me know if you can't read anything, if like resolution size or anything needs to change. Happy for feedback on this stream. Okay, so here are the docs. So here's this one. So we got the menu cache. I don't care about the menu cache. Don't care about the menu cache. Huh. I would have thought. Actually, oh, here's what it is. Okay, where's this no cache coming from? Yeah, m.no cache. Yeah, let's just look up this thing. I'll just manually set it for now, which is annoying, but it is what it is. Yeah, see, Z course, and then it's conversing the process.env, which for whatever reason, it's just not getting updated. I need to do something to set up Vite correctly. I don't totally remember how to do it. No big deal. I'm gonna do, I think I'll just do this. Process.env dot, what was it called? It's like cache. No, it's not no cache. Is it no cache? Yeah. That's what it's called. Okay, no cache, yeah. So we'll just set no cache to equal 1. And I think I think that'll fix it, which is very obviously hacky. Let's make sure, just so that we can actually get our updates reflected when we want them to be. It looked like the header did change back. It did change back. I'm pretty sure I refreshed it, but maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I'll do it one more time. All right, cool. So that one's definitely working. Maybe I assumed it was gonna fail. So I saw what I wanted. All right, one more time, just the old version, making sure this doesn't work. Thanks, Nicholas Page. Nicholas Page. Got it. It is very hard to read usernames. All right, so that says test. Now we're going to change it to overview. Come and refresh. Oh, it did work. I don't, you're so right. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm making up stuff. Yep, seeing what I want to see. All right, glad we went down that rabbit hole. Okay, cool. So if I change that to test, yeah, it does work. That is so silly of me. Thank you so much for pointing that out, that I was doing something I totally didn't need to do. Awesome. Okay, so everything's working. Okay, so what do we want to do first? Let's see. Okay, so with single fetch, let's just look at like what the docs are currently. We'll kind of go through some of these features. Feel free to ask questions if you have any questions about what single fetch is or how it works. Because I'd be happy to answer it, happy to clarify anything that's confusing. Um, yeah, and Nicholas, to be fair, I do have to refresh, which is what I expected, because basically there's no HMR like going between these two repos, which is totally fine. I'm fine with having to refresh. I just thought that like it would be cached, and it wasn't, which is great. That's exactly what I wanted. So anyway, that was super my bad, but whatever, not a big deal. Um, Okay, so overview. So Remix introduced support for single fetch RFC behind the future unstable flag, unstable single fetch flag in v2.9.0, which allows you to opt in to this behavior, which will become the default for Remix v3. Oh, I wonder if we're even gonna, gosh, now that we've announced v7, React Router v7, we probably need to update that language even a bit. But I'm not 100% sure how we should. Also, I feel like this is kind of like, this is like past tense, and it's more just like, I think we should just say like, I don't know. I guess it's helpful to have that. I wonder, do we have any other like unstable flags right now? We have unstable view transition. How do we talk about it? It just says what it does. Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about that if we need to actually like, have this bit of short history. Okay, no biggie. So overview, when you enable single fetch, Remix will make a single HTTP call to your server on client-side transitions instead of multiple HTTP calls in parallel, one per loader. If you are currently returning response instances from your loaders, i.e. JSON, defer, then you shouldn't need to make any changes to your app code, but please read through the breaking changes below to be aware of some of the underlying behavior changes, especially around serialization and status/header behavior. So I think this is where it gets confusing for people because the statement is true. Yeah, it's like you can ship single fetch without making any changes if you're using JSON and defer and these sorts of things because they just work. And they wrap it in response and they serialize it and everything for you. But you are going to still need to make those updates. So I'm trying to think through that. And even if it's like, if this should just say like, if this should more just be like migration and then step through everything you need to do. Anyway, we'll get to it. So breaking changes, the breaking changes that we have is single fetch uses a new streaming format under the hood via turbo JSON, turbo stream, which means that we can stream down more complex data than just JSON, which is super cool. So in case that's not clear, you can basically, let's find an example. We'll go to let's just go to like the showcase. That's a pretty easy page. So right here, we're returning JSON. So we could do, let's open it up first. And we'll go to left-hand side. I don't know why I went to the blog showcase. Oh gosh. Okay, cool. That was weird. All right. So right now we wrap this in JSON. We'll get rid of the headers. We're not too worried about that for now. And then we'll actually just, instead of all this, we're going to return this. Need to get rid of the comma. And this should just like work. You can just send the objects down. You could actually do that before. It would automatically get serialized. But now you can do crazy things like you can say, date is like a new date. And then in your loader, you can pull out date. And right now it's saying string of date. So we'll figure out the type stuff later because that is like an update. But if I console log the date, then we can see in the actual browser when this gets hydrated. Yeah, it's an actual date. That's not a string. The string would look like if we were using JSON, it would look like this, a string. It gets turned into like an ISO string or whatever. So it's super cool, right? Brooks, I wonder how to do REST API client like Postman with the new single fetch, no more JSON responses. Yeah, it's a great question. Is it Michelle? So we do talk about that, and we probably need to be, maybe that's something we'll update a little bit more too. Let me get these changed a little bit. So one API that actually, gosh, I need a little sidebar, I think. Here we go. We talk about resource routes. I think I need to update this language a little bit, but I don't know, it might be fine. Anyway, basically, it's like, okay, raw JavaScript objects returned from loader and action functions are no longer automatically converted to response instance via the JSON utility. So since that's how like a resource route would work, which is what you'd be using if you're trying to create a REST API client, so since it's just not automatically converted, you need to convert it yourself. Right now, you could use the JSON utility, but we're gonna be deprecating the JSON utility, which I want to be more explicit about in this document. Excuse me, I'm sorry, having all the burps come up as soon as I start talking in the morning, because I don't usually talk to people in the morning, so I'm fine, and then my body just rebels. But since we're getting rid of that, you basically just want to return like new response. I'm pretty sure that's what you want to do. And I'll need to verify that like with my colleagues and stuff to make sure that's kind of what they would recommend. Because yeah, the JSON is like, it's a really simple wrapper, what this is. But yeah, I think that's what you want to be doing. And yeah, I'll verify. But anyway, note it's not recommended to use. Oh, those are from later. Yeah, so I'll have to read through this. But anyway, I would, if you really need that answer right now, I'd read it here. But I'm gonna get to it. I just need to go through the whole flow of this thing to see what issues need to be updated. Did that more or less answer your question, Marcel, though? To basically just return a response is the answer. Don't just return a naked object from your API or resource routes. Cool. So this one would be gone. So this is an update that eventually you'll need to make as we'll want you to get rid of all those JSON wrappers and stuff. And so then people wonder what happens to the headers, and we'll get to that in a bit. So let's get this all back to where we want it, and then we'll get back to this one. Also, sorry, my phone is like pinging me a lot, so I'm gonna turn that on focus. Okay, cool. So back to single fetch. So breaking changes, we have a few breaking changes. So single fetch uses this new streaming format, which means that we can stream down more complex data than JSON. It's probably not even clear why that's like a breaking change, but it is. Like your streaming format changed. If you were expecting JSON, like one that's going to be updated in the future, and two, I don't know, maybe you're just it's just different. It is a different format. We don't know the implications of how everyone is using this. So that is different. Naked objects returned from loader and action functions are no longer automatically converted into JSON response and are serialized as over the wire. So yeah, this is totally a breaking change, because if previously you were returning like, date equals new date, we would automatically serialize that for you. We're no longer doing that. And so now that is a date. So like if you upgraded to single fetch and you weren't using the JSON helper and you were just returning objects down, which is totally valid, you immediately do have breaking changes, because if you're returning anything that did get serialized, that wasn't a number or a string essentially already, then it like, so yeah, so you have a string, date, like what I just returned down, and then when you're down in the component, you're doing like date, I don't know, you'd probably do something. I mean, this is a bad example because why would you do like date.length or something like that? It's not a function. And then that would break because I'm pretty sure you can't call. I don't think you can call new date.length. I'm pretty sure it's not a thing. Yeah, there you go. So date's a bad example because typically you call new date on that thing anyway. But whatever. If you're returning a naked object down and you're expecting to get it serialized, it will not be the same format. So that is breaking change. And then to get the most accurate type inference, you should do two things. So this is interesting too. This is like, is it a breaking change? I don't know. Types are always confusing with breaking changes. So you need to add this thing to the end of your tsconfig JSON compiler option types array. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. So there's like a different like kind of type definition. Cool. Okay. And then begin using unstable define loader and define action. So these are new ones that came. I also wanted to test these out because I think there is, I don't know. I just want to test them out. In your routes, this can be done incrementally. You should have mostly accurate type inference in your current state. I don't even think that's a helpful statement because what does that even mean? I don't know. I'll work through that. And then revalidation after an action, yeah, this is good to know, is now opt-in versus opt-out. So yeah, that's nice. Okay, so yeah, if an action returns a 400 or a 500 response, you don't automatically revalidate everything, which is good because it failed. There's no reason to like rerun everything until it's successful. That's the mental model of how Remix works is you yeah, you get your loader sends down data, your component renders, you send up an action. When that action is successful, you likely change some of your data. So rerun all the loaders. That doesn't really make sense if it was unsuccessful. If it's unsuccessful, why are you updating things that the user is seeing other than like sending back from the action like error messages? That's totally valid. I wonder what the improvements to define loader and define action bring over. Yeah, so I think the main improvements, we can go look at that really quick. I'm pretty sure it's just like type safety. So it's like the request is defined differently. No, it's the response. The response, like in loader action args or whatever, has to be undefined. I mean, I can just pull it up for you and we can look at it really quick. So yeah, this response, which is a thing that this is like actually what we would change. We'd change like the headers. We'd say set cache control to that instead of this piece. That's like the new format. Right now, again, this is actually kind of subject to change. I think Ryan wants to look at it more. I'm not totally sure. Anyway, it's kind of annoying. Why is this undefined? Well, it's undefined because if you're not using single fetch, this thing doesn't exist. So what you can do is you can do define, we'll do undefined. Oh my gosh, const loader 2 equals, what is it? Unstable. That's what I'm looking for. Jeez. Create. Am I on the wrong? Ooh, I'm not on the right branch. Okay. Let me not branch, sorry. The right version. Yeah, all these need to be 0.2, I think. Oh, shit. Okay. I think that was all of them. 1.9.1. Okay, cool. 1.9.1. Yeah. So let's install that so we can get the latest and look at it. Yeah. Question for the stream while this is running. Do you like background music being on a stream? Because I don't care. Shoot, why did this break? But I know a lot of streamers do it. So just want to make sure I'm doing right by all of you. I'm not assuming that broke because I had a syntax error, but we'll see. Okay, cool. All right, so const loader 2 equals unstable create. Oh my goodness. Restart TS server. I think it comes from node. We'll just pull it out directly. Oh, it's not called create. That's the problem. Silly me. All right. So now if we're creating this, you can have a function in here, and then what can you pull out of that function? You can pull out all the things. And one benefit immediately is that response is no longer undefined. So you can do response.headers, you can do all the stuff you want. That's a very small thing. Basically, we couldn't make loader function args like have the response be automatically defined because if you're not using single fetch, yeah, this doesn't exist. But the other thing and the more valuable thing is if I return that date, new date here, This is my understanding of what this does, so I'm actually testing this in real time. Where did that use loader? Okay, so now let's do like a second example. This one will be the date one. So I think if we do type of loader 2 here, it will know that date is a string. That seems wrong. All right, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work the way I expected. I thought that it would get the right type inference. So I'm kind of surprised it didn't. But I should probably read the docs. Huh. Undefine loader. Do 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 do. Oh, maybe it doesn't give you the inference. Jeez. Wait, hold on. I skipped a step. I gotta add this thing. Okay, so tsconfigs, compiler options. Uh, oh, I see, man. Breaking changes across types are hard. LOL. Most streams I watch don't have background music. However, I watch tech streams, usually not. Okay, cool. Thanks. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah. So types stuff can be kind of annoying. We're trying to do our best with it. I think this is all. What am I looking for? I'm talking while I'm trying to find stuff. Compiler options dot types. The types array is what I'm looking for. There we go. Yeah, I think this just needs to be better spelled out of like, and I'm also just not going through the doc right, but yeah, so this should fix one thing. And now this date is a date. Okay, beautiful. So I'm curious actually if it works here. I'm gonna turn this one. I'll do a different type. Let's do like map is new map. And then in that loader, if I pull out map, it doesn't like that. It's not even a thing. Huh. Did I just mess something up? Yeah, I think it like strips it out, doesn't it? Or return it from here too. Map is a new map. So yeah, that type of loader it just says, oh gosh, hold on, I have the discriminated union accidentally. Let's get rid of that. That might have been the problem. Okay, cool. So now do you have a map? Good. All right, so now you have a map. Map is probably a bad name because that's actually a type as well. So then it says it's an empty object. Let's call it something else, sorry. Because I think I'm getting mixed up with a bunch of stuff. All right, so my map, does this even have a type? No, it doesn't even exist. So no, it doesn't. Why does it keep, what is going on? It just says it's an empty object. That was weird. I swear that said it didn't exist. Okay, so yeah, it's an empty object if you're using like the use loader data type of loader without the define. And then the my map, I called a map here. See, I'm not even being consistent. Now it's a map of any, which is the type it wants. So, okay, so you have to update. That's so interesting. You have to update the types in tsconfig, and then you have to update if you use define loader and define action, returning these naked objects, you get that type inference that people want. So I think we need to explain that well. Yeah, I tried to adopt single fetch before these type updates into 0.9.2 and it was rough. So this is very nice. I ran into this exact case. Cool, thanks. Yeah, and we wanted to get it out, you know, because it's unstable and we wanted feedback, which is good. But basically, like you could do this, but it was very annoying because you'd have to do. Let me see if I can remember right. Return type. Oh gosh, type of loader to which people are probably already mad that I'm doing this typecasting, but we'll get to that in a second. And then you need to do awaited, which is annoying. So this would work. But then this is also mad because it's like, why are you doing that to me? Why is it actually mad? Type instance. Oh, type initiation is excessively deep and possibly infinite. Oh boy, good. So yeah, lots of problems here. Just going on in general. That's not great. But anyway, yeah, this was kind of initially how we were like, at least to get started, how you would solve it. But it's pretty annoying to write this, and also people don't like the coercion piece, which is fine, totally valid. What's funny is like this is definitely no better in my opinion. Like the type of is about the same as doing an as blah 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 because it's all type coercion. Like this isn't actually guaranteeing any type safety. but it's all good. It doesn't matter. We're gonna have even better ways to do this with like the route stuff that Pedro is working on. So this is all like kind of temporary anyway. So this is super helpful. I hadn't. Oh, okay, cool. I mean, thanks y'all for jumping on. I'm glad I can just like I'm just trying to think out loud. So I'm glad this is helpful. Trying to think out loud and trying to make our docs better because like I said, all the information is in the docs. The doc is really good. It's like very thorough. I just want to rework it a little bit so it's more clear. And then I wanted to test some things myself. Cool. So that's how single fetch works. Yeah, so I'm gonna actually just I'm gonna undo all this work because I don't need that anymore. What other breaking changes are there? So the revalidation step, we talked about that. The headers function is no longer used. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. This is actually really nice. I love that we can get rid of an API here. So the headers function is how you can just return a header um, for like a page, which is cool, but it's really confusing because like your loader has its own like headers versus like your page has its headers. And again, it gets in this weird like discrepancy between spas and NPAs. So a lot of times in the header, you would just like do this thing where you take whatever the loader headers were and you just like return those, which I think we do a few times. Function, is it const headers? Yeah. So like here's the blog one. Yeah, we literally just like automatically inherit it. And so it's gonna be really nice just getting rid of this. Like right now, this actually doesn't do anything, I'm pretty positive. Because it is no longer used when you have single fetch enabled. So single fetched is getting rid of this. So we'll be removing those, which will be good. And just just gonna make things simpler. In favor of a new response stub, we kind of talked about that already. Past your loader in action, so you just kind of mutate that thing, which is cool. And then the old install globals polyfill doesn't work for single fetch. You must either use the native node 20 fetch API call or install globals native fetch true in your custom server to get the Undici based polyfill. This should probably be the first thing we tell people because a lot of people, I don't think we're using it on this one. No, we're not. But if you're doing install, is it not? Oh, man, I always maybe someone can explain this to me. Whenever I open the vconfig file, it just like bricks VS Code for maybe not totally bricks, but like there's a dog walking behind me. It totally messes it up and messes up like all the IntelliSense and everything for a little bit. I assume it's just got a really deep like type tree or something. Man, I can't even find it. Install globals. I don't even know where this thing is coming from. From node, remix node import from remix.run/node install globals. There we go. Anyway, so why am I bringing this up? Because if you had install globals running, because if you're on, yeah, just if you're using it, we have a polyfill for fetch, and you want to pass native fetch true so that it uses Indici. But if you're on node 12, 20, gosh, if you're on node 12, please upgrade. If you're on node 20 or more, you don't need to do this. This is redundant. You're just making us install Indici. You already have Indici, which is just the package, the fetch like package basically that Node automatically uses. So if you're on Node 20, which this one, oh come on, .nvm. What am I doing? .nvm. There we go. RC. This one is using Node 20. So whenever I do nvm use, we automatically are using 20, which is great. Boom. Okay, cool. So you don't need that. But yeah, we need to make that really clear because we've had people run into that where they're like, why is single fetch not working? And they just missed that you're supposed to do this step. All right, gonna look at some comments. I updated single fetch by installing remix.run server runtime 2.9.2 and then easily import define blah 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 blah. Cool. Oh, yeah, Michelle, I would not use the I'm sorry about this, the server runtime /dis /single fetch. Uh it's such a goofy thing. It's all right, but yeah, I'll go over those maybe a little bit. But still sometimes have to restart TS server. But yeah, I wouldn't use the dist directly. This is a problem that we have in how the remix packages are kind of set up. We're not using like the exports field from package.json. Pedro was explaining this to me the other day because if we basically we need to update how we're doing the package exports. And if we made that update, it would be considered a breaking change. So we're not going to do that this version. We're going to do it later. But basically, yeah, if you are importing, so yeah, I want to use what define action. So you got all these. God, this is so annoying that those are the ones that show up first. Just yeah, don't use these. Use these unstable ones. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. This is super weird though that it's those ones that that's so weird. I'm actually kind of surprised. Maybe I just don't have server runtime in here. Maybe that's why you're seeing it. Server, what's it called? Yeah, server. Yeah, I don't have server runtime. So if I installed um, at remix.run/server runtime, yeah, I mean, these are all just re-exports, so it makes sense. Define. Yeah, here they all are. God, there's so many of them. If you have that. This is so annoying. I'm so happy we're fixing our whole package thing. Everything's just gonna be like React router, and like we'll use the add React router namespace, I think, for some things, but for a lot of stuff, it's just gonna be like import, define action or whatever from React router, and that's gonna be really helpful and way more clear. And you're not gonna have like the dist problem. Okay, sorry, that was a tangent. Didn't mean to call you out though. It's no big deal. Just yeah, wanted to clarify that that's like kind of a mistake on our end, but also like not a mistake we can fix until we go to a major update. Okay, man. So what do I want to do? I do want to rewrite this. I was thinking, yeah, I don't think I need to go through everything in here. This has so far just been like trying to remind myself how single fetch works. So we got some details. You got streaming data format. So we explain what that is. Okay, this is interesting. So I understand, I think, how this was written. So quick overview. Hey, here's all the breaking changes. Like, this is what breaks. And then it's like, hey, here's the details of how all those things specifically broke. So, or are just different. Sorry. So here's this streaming format. You want to understand a little bit more how it works and what you can do, blah, blah, blah. Hey, React rendering APIs. You're going to need to, oh, this is interesting. In order to maintain consistency between document data requests, TurboStream is also used as the format for sending down data in initial document requests. Okay, that makes sense. This means that once opted into single fetch, your application can no longer use render to string and must use a React streaming rendering API such as render. Okay, that makes sense. So it's like, hey, you can't use render string with this thing. This does not mean you have to stream down your HTTP response. You can still send the full document at once by leveraging all on already option in render. That's good to know. So yeah, I'm even wondering like if this title should be different or we should have it more of a warning of like you cannot use. I don't know. Could be a little bit more clear, but this is more of a nuance or a detail for those people who are using just render string. Which yeah, we should be moving on from that anyway. I don't think that's what React wants you to be doing. On the client side, this also means you need to wrap your client side hydrate root, call, and start transition call because the stream data will be coming down wrapped in a suspense boundary. Okay, and then we got a big note about the streaming timeout. Gosh, okay. So we had a concept about an abort timeout built in to the default file. Now that Remix is streaming internally, we can cancel the turbo stream process and automatically reject any pending promises. By default, this happens at 4950, a value that was chosen to be just under the current 500 millisecond abort delay. Okay. Since we need to cancel the promises and let the rejection stream up, you can control this by exporting something called stream timeout. Cool. This is interesting that we even have, I guess it makes sense. Whatever. Okay, cool. That's like a very specific thing. Okay, this should be like way higher and explained better. All this inference stuff like is way too low in my opinion. Glad we got the little siren, but yeah, it's like you don't need to read about this and this as the first things. These are all yeah, way down the road details. So it's just the order is a little bit off here. Um, and then here's yeah, more type stuff. This should probably be if this is just for type stuff, this should probably be grouped into the same thing. Why are you spinning forever? What's going on with you? Just chill out. Yeah, it should probably be grouped. Okay. So to enhance type safety when defining loaders and actions with single fetch, you can use the new unstable define loader and unstable define action utilities. This is so interesting because this is gonna be different down the road with the route stuff. I guess it's just like a temporary getting there thing. I'm sure there's a migration path for it. It's all good. Anyway, if this is just for type safety, though, I think we just need to clarify that and nest these differently. Not only does this give you types for arguments and deprecates loader function args, but it also ensures you are returning single fetch compatible types. Oh, that's nice. So like this would error. So what does that actually look like? I'll just copy this one. Sure, we'll do it here. Loader 2. Fair enough. Oh gosh, see, no wonder, no wonder. People are using the wrong thing here. Unstable. Use. No, what was it? Define loader. Okay, argument of type that is not assignable to the parameter of type loader. Type hello is not assignable to. Oh gosh. There we go. That's I do really appreciate that. I'm confident there wasn't a better way to do this. This is very unfortunate. This I guess if I read this, that's maybe better. Um, argument of type that is not assignable to the parameter of type loader. It's still confusing though to me. It's like why? What does that mean? What's not assignable? That's all right. Incremental things like it's gonna get better. What am I doing? Just move that. Okay. And then single fetch supports the following return types. Cool. Uh, did this explain why we even need this type inference without single fetch? Any plain object from loader or action is automatically serialized into a JSON response. The type inference assumes this is the case and infers naked object returns as if they were JSON serializable. With single fetch, naked objects can be streamed directly. So is this just to handle the naked objects? Okay, cool, whatever. And then there are also client equivalents, client-side equivalents of define client loader and client action that don't have the same return value restrictions because data returned from client loader and client action does not need to be serialized over the wire. Yeah, that makes sense. So why do we even have these? I really don't actually understand why we have this. Oh, it's for... No, I have no idea. Oh, maybe, okay, it's the type of server loader. That's probably the main thing. It's inferring that correctly. These utilities are primarily for type inference on used loader data and its equivalents. If you have a resource route that returns a response and is not consumed by Remix APIs such as useFetcher, then you can just stick with your normal loader action definitions. Converting those routes to use define loader and define action would cause type errors because TurboStream cannot serialize a response instance. It would cause. Why would it cause type errors? It's not so much that it would cause type errors. Would it? I don't know. This needs to be. This is confusing to me. Okay. Use loader data, use action data, use route loader data, and use fetcher. These methods do not require any code changes on your part. Adding the single fetch types will cause their generics to deserialize correctly if you're using define loader. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Probably want to make that a little bit more clear, I think. Use matches requires a manual cast to specify the loader type in order to get proper type inference on a given match.data. I wonder why that's the case. When using single fetch, you would need to replace, the UI match type with UI match single fetch. Okay, so I guess this was already a thing. That's weird. And then the meta function. Sorry, y'all. I'm just learning a lot myself, obviously, just reading docs out loud to you. Meta functions also require generic to indicate the current and ancestor route types, loader types in order to properly type the data and the matches parameter. When using single fetch, you will need to replace the meta args type with meta args single fetch. Okay. Those are fine. I'm not that worried about those. Those are like pretty understandable, I think. Cool. And that's all under the type stuff, so that's good. Okay, so we got a couple more things, but we're pretty close. Gosh, this is actually a pretty long doc. Sheesh. Okay. Um, and then you got revalidations. We talked about that. That's just more explanation what's going on here. Then you got headers. The headers function is no longer used. Instead, loader action now receive a response stub that's mutable. So you just go ahead and set all this stuff. Got some good examples of how you can do that. That's great. Love it, love it. However, this is interesting. Yeah, I like these callouts are good, but it's just this is like look at the scroll bar so far down to like be giving these callouts. I don't know. Client loaders, if your app uses the client loader function, it's important to note that the behavior of single fetch changed slightly. Oh, really? Okay. Because client loader is intended to give you a way to opt out of calling the server loader function, it would be incorrect for a single fetch call to execute the server loader. Geez. But we run all loaders in parallel, and we don't want to wait until the call and to make the call until we know the client loaders are actually asking for it. For example, consider A, B, C, D. Okay. So A, B, C, and then C's got a client loader. Gosh, okay. If the user navigates from here to here, then we need to run the server for A, B, and the client loader for C, which may eventually or may not call its own server loader. We can't decide to include the C server loader in a single fetch call when we want to fetch A and B's loaders, nor can we delay until C actually makes the server loader call. Therefore, when you export a client loader, that route opts out of single fetch. Whoa. When you call server loader, it will make the single fetch to get only its. Wait, sorry, I read that wrong. Therefore, when you export a client loader, that route opts out of single fetch, and when you call server loader, it will make it. Oh, in that loader. Okay, interesting. So you're in control now. You're opted out of single fetch, and you're in control of when that thing is fetched. Okay, cool. That makes sense. That's fine. And then resource routes. Oh, gosh, this is also long because of things. Response. Yeah. So this poses an interesting conundrum. It has a bit more history maybe than needed. I think there just needs to be the answer up front and then maybe the history. If a resource route is intended for consumption by internal Remix APIs, you want to be able to leverage TurboStream encoding to unlock the ability to stream down more complex structures, blah, 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 backwards compatibility. Remix v2 handles this based on whether you access it externally or internally. Yes, this is what it was asked a lot earlier of like, if you're making a REST API or something, or just using resource routes, what do you do with single fetch? And you need to return a response basically. So we need to make that more explicit, maybe show an example. We shouldn't be showing an example of JSON because we're going to be getting rid of that. So when accessing from a Remix API such as useFetcher, raw JSON objects will be returned as TurboStream responses. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, I think. Just like normal loaders, blah, blah, blah. Wait, this is fascinating. So when accessing from such as you useFetcher, raw JavaScript objects will be returned as TurboSpring. That makes sense. When accessing from an external tool such as fetch or curl, we will automatically convert it. Remix will log a deprecation warning when the situation is encountered. At your convenience, you can just add the JSON call to the impacted resource route handlers. Address these deprecation warnings. I actually don't know what the answer is here. What are you supposed to even do? If you're just using it internally, it should be, I guess, like just don't, yeah. You should know what you're using your resource route for. Don't use it for both. If you're using it for like an API, like a REST API, return a response object. If you're using it internally and you just want it to be a resource route, then you should be returning a naked object. I think that's right. So what are we going to call deprecation warnings on? Okay, I need to get with Matt on this one. I don't know if someone understands this section better. Let me know. Or if my question doesn't make sense, let me know as well. Basically, just asking like, what is the right situation? Like, if you have a resource route, you may want to return a naked object from it, but it sounds like that's going to be deprecated, or rather, there's a deprecation warning. So then you need to return a JSON, so it's serialized. But now you're not using the single fetch. I guess you just can't use single fetch with loaders. You can't return naked objects, but that's going to be a big problem too, because you totally may want a resource route to be able to return like an RSC. which is exactly like why we introduced single fetch in the first place. Okay, I'm gonna figure that out and get back to the team, get some input on that. And then you get the response stub and the resource routes. Was I not just reading about resource routes? I was reading about resource routes. Okay. Oh, this is a subsection. Okay. Add discussed or above as discussed. Fix that one really quick. There you go. First contribution. As discussed above, the header's export is not deprecated. See, this makes me nervous. No, yeah, this needs to be updated. I think this was before we decided that JSON is like for sure getting deprecated, maybe. Yeah, I have some questions here I need to fix, or need to ask, and we get this fixed. Okay, this just needs to be maybe put up, or this just shouldn't be at the bottom. This is a very important change. This is like one of the two things you actually have to change to get this working. Inline scripts, the remix server component renders inline scripts that handle the streaming data on the client side. Okay. If you have a content security policy for scripts with, is it no once or in once? I mean, I always say this thing wrong. Oh man, where'd it go? In once. I always want to say no once, but then that's just me combining it. How do people say it? Nonce. Nonce. That does not sound right. That's got to be something else. I don't know. Anyway, if you have a content security policy for scripts with in once, I'm going to say that source is, you can use remix server in once to pass through the in once to the script tags. Okay. Cool. Let's see if we even have that anywhere. Cool. So is this Discord message for me? No, it's not. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's the whole doc. So how, so yeah, I think I'll get back a little bit to this, but I want to at least outline how I think it should kind of go. So I think it's funny that I blew up my server. I don't think we need, it's very weird. It's like, do we need that header? I guess we just remove that header because I think this title, I actually don't know how these work. Sorry, this is a distraction. But once this gets running, I want to test something really quick. Okay, so single fetch, if I remove this header, does this go away? No, it automatically uses the title. Weird. No worries. All right, so single fetch, so remix introduce, blah, 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 blah. So let's say like, I think the new outline I want is, I want like basically getting started, or like enabling single fetch. That should be like the first thing you do. Breaking changes, migration. Because this is like turn on single, what's it called? Unstable. Gosh, where is it? Unstable. It's not that one. We mentioned it one time. Cool. Flag. If using install globals, turn on native fetch. So those are the steps there, and then your breaking changes. We pretty much have them here. This is, I mean, this is good. I like how this all works. So, but it's like type inference. That's not even, it's not really a breaking change. It's just more like, that's more for the migration. So really the breaking change is, it's turbo stream, streaming format. Oh, you know, there's actually another one in here, and it was that, shoot, what was it? It was the render to string. You can't use render to string. Can't use render to string. And that's maybe more just like caveats or something. I don't know. Maybe that's let's see. We'll just try this for now. Caveat. Ooh, can I spell a word correctly for the first? Yay, there we go. All right. Do do do. I don't even know if that makes sense, but we'll see. Whatever. I'll deal with that later. Okay. Um, Sorry. I lost my train of thought. Okay. Breaking changes, turbo streaming format. That is definitely a breaking change. Yeah, revalidation of after action. I'll just actually say this. Copy this guy because this is correct. Boop. Cool. So what else is in here? So we've covered this one. The naked objects from loader and action functions are no longer automatically. Yeah, that is definitely a breaking change, or could be. Yeah, so um, it's kind of similar to this one, or maybe I don't know if it's like a sub one of the turbo string thing, but it's all good. So what did we call it? We said naked object returned. That's such an interesting phrase. Yeah, I think that's fine. So yeah, returns none. Yeah, naked object returns are no longer automatically serialized. Okay. Oop. There we go. Okay. So we covered one, two. Okay, and then the type stuff is more of a migration step. So basically, you don't have to migrate all at once. We want to make sure that's cleared. So don't have to migrate all at once. Should do route by route after enabling and ensuring no bugs. Okay, so there's that, and then like yeah, you want to add this. This is correct. That's one step. And then for each route, I think everything gets to be route by route at that point. So this is enabling it. So actually, no, sorry. I think this should actually be up here. I don't think this should be down here. So migration wise, it's like update. Yeah. Loaders and actions to use define loader, define action. Cool. So you want to update that. And this is one thing where Jacob's code mod would be really helpful. I don't think he's worked on this one yet, which is totally fine. He's doing it for free. He definitely doesn't have to. But yeah, to automatically do that update would be super cool. So that's one. And then update, what is it? For like, yeah, update headers or, yeah, okay, let's see. So this is grouped into one. It's the headers function is no longer supported in favor of the new response stub. So update headers to no. It's remove like JSON slash defer in favor of. We'll check up Jacob if we can work on that. Thank you. Thanks Mohab for man. Thanks for listening and watching this. Sorry, I haven't even used the code mod yet. But I don't know. Hopefully this is giving you an idea of like all the stuff we got to think about. Yeah, I would have liked to have started with this, but I hadn't read the doc well enough to get through all this. Anyway, I'm in favor of returning naked objects plus response, using response or mutating. Okay, and then the last thing will be remove headers function. Which that one's really interesting because that's actually no longer the headers function like isn't used at all. So I wonder, that should actually be probably up here. Oop, that's not right. Yeah, it's under the breaking changes. This one is just wrong. Gosh, all my formatting is going crazy. There we go. So and it's not so much, yeah, what is it? It's no longer used. So I should say that headers function is no longer used. Okay, that's the true breaking changes. I think this is it. Okay, so to enable it, here's what you need to do. You need to turn on single fetch flag. That's correct. If you're using install globals, turn on native fetch. Be more. Set native fetch to true. If on node 20 plus, use nodes fetch. Same thing. Okay, so 1, 2, and then 3. The third thing is, yeah, add these types. And I just want to make sure, absolute sure, that you should be adding these types regardless of whether or not you're using this. Yeah, I believe so. So here we talk about it. Again, so make sure the single fetch types come after any other remix packages and types. That's good to know. Without single fetch, any plain JavaScript object return from a loader action is automatically serialized into a JSON response. Okay, as if you returned it via JSON. The type inference assumes this is the case. Oh, right. Okay. So this basically, forgive me if I've already gone over this. So I've got my loader. Yeah. Let's go back to the showcase example because it's the easiest to play with without breaking things. And also let me make sure that tsconfig is actually updated. Okay, so I've got this. It's after all that stuff. Do I have the types like a d.ts file? Yeah. Boop, boop, boom. Feed client and then remix run node slash globals. Whatever, I'm not gonna worry about that. I was gonna combine them, but it doesn't matter. So we've got this single fetch thing. So if I'm in here, and by here I mean here, if I'm in the showcase one, and I'm gonna return this, and then I'm gonna do date is new date, and then I'm gonna see where my loader is. There's the meta stuff, blah blah blah. Here's the date. It's just a string. It's kind of confusing to me. I feel like the tsconfig change like didn't change anything, so I'm not actually 100% sure what it's doing. Did I just not read it right? Without single fetch, any plain object returned from a loader action is automatically serialized into a JSON response, right? That's correct. As if you returned it via JSON. The type inference assumes this is the case and infers naked object returns as if they were, that should be infers. Infer naked, and infers naked object returns. Oh my gosh. Oh, I did forget to do the no cache. Okay. Infers naked object returns as if they were JSON serialized. With single fetch, naked objects will be streamed directly, so the built-in type inference is no longer accurate. Once you have opted into single fetch, for example, you would assume that a date would be serialized. So the exact same thing I'm doing in order to ensure you get the proper types when you use single fetch, we've included a set of type. Okay, I'm wondering if, gosh, I thought I turned this on focus. Does it automatic? I don't know. Weird. I'll figure that out later. So I'm wondering if that .d.ts file, so this is something we should be calling out. If this is the thing that's messing it up, if like these are coming in after the fact. So I'm just gonna remove those, and then how can I actually test this? I mean, I can just keep hovering over it. Why is it not working? I like hovering is not doing anything. What is going on? Reload window. Hmm. This is fascinating. I'm just like VS Code won't let me hover over anything. If I had these back, will what is? Oh, I lost my history. Yeah. Okay. So let me actually delete this. Oops. Sorry. It's still a string. Try it one more time. Loading. It's still string. I don't actually understand how that changes things. That seems not correct. Hmm. Okay. Well, let's add the types here. I don't want to type all that. That doesn't exist. So yeah, I think that was the only d.ts. Oh gosh. Weird. So yeah, that totally doesn't do what I expected to do. So I need to reach out to, I think to Pedro about that. Because I'm just not understanding what this does. And if I'm not understanding it either, I mean, I could just be uniquely dumb, which is actually very likely, but I don't think other people are going to understand this either. I have no idea, unfortunately, what that's doing, even though I've read this sentence like 4 times. Where'd it go? I'm not in the right place. This one. Yeah, I don't know what this does. I did put it at the end. I just don't know what it's supposed to be doing. So anyway, yeah, that needs to be more clear. But what was the reason I was doing that? Because we have it here as add this. Um, yeah, let's do this to do ask Pedro what this actually does, because it's not, whatever, because it doesn't do what I expect it to. Okay. Okay, I actually do want to run the code mod a little bit and see how it works, just to start to get an idea. I also feel like that might be helpful for some people if you're interested in this. And I think this is the step at which I want to run it. So one concern I have with the code mod, it's not like bad or anything. Oh, I want to undo this. Is I think the code mod does a little too much on its own, and I typically wouldn't do all the things that it does. But this could just be like a oh, nice. Wow, that was fast. That's gonna be so helpful. If Jacob, I'm responding to a comment where Moab said, Jacob put the change he wanted on his list. I'm trying to remember which change. I think it was the the define. Yeah, changing loaders to like define loader in action. That'd be super cool. Okay, so he's got this recipe, and the nice thing is the recipe tells you like all the things it does in this order. So the first one it does is it'll enable unstable single fetch flag. That's a good first step to do. So that's like a global one. Enable this if it exists. So that's a global one. I had trouble with this last time I ran it. I kind of want to run it again and see if it works. So if you have an install global, let's go try this one more time. Ah man, I'm sorry y'all. My dog is mad at me. How do I'll be right back. I don't really have a good way to like, what can I show you all? That would be fun for you to look at. Is there just I don't know, I can't think. Anyway, I'm not going to do anything cute. I don't have anything to show you. 1 second, I need to get my dog. Yeah, come in here. Come hang out. All right, got the dogs. It's a party now. All right. If the recipe does too much, you can run the individual code mods one by one. Yeah, Moab, that's where I wanted to get at. I was going to say that. I just think the instructions maybe could. I'm just trying to figure out where we should be in including instructions and stuff. So yeah, I know stream's way better with dogs. Although they just let well, this one's still here. Um, Man, she is so annoying though because every time she wants to come inside, she loves being outside. I live in Texas. It's very hot outside. It's what's the weather? Weather in Austin. It's 82. Actually, oh man, that's actually really nice. It typically like it'll get up to 89. These are the weather we've been having is 94. For the Celsius folks, what is that? So like 34, 34 has been our highs roughly. But she loves being outside and she's like, oh, big dog, half German Shepherd, half Great Dane. And then she wants to come inside, but as soon as I try to let her inside, she runs away. Makes no sense. So yeah, weird dog, but love her. Anyway, where am I at? Okay, so I wanted to see if this works. Install. Why does it not show up? Where are you, install globals? Import from remix.run slash node. Install globals. Okay, so if I have install globals and I run this, I want to run it with npx, I think. Yes, I will install the latest. Fingers crossed. Current get state contains uncommitted. Yeah, that's fine. Whoa. What is going on? Using paths provided to the code mod by the code mod settings. Oh, okay. Cool. So it's just telling you what it's including, what it's excluding. That's great. Yeah, that's what I want in the execute process. Yep, it didn't work. I'm not totally sure why this one doesn't work. I did tell Jacob this. I just don't think he's had time to work at it. It's all good. Look at it. Yeah, searches the whole code base for instances. Oh, .mts. That's so annoying. That's the reason. Always something, man. All these freaking types. Wait, let me change that. Um, all the not types, all these like file conventions and all that crap. Let's see if it runs on that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that was the problem. I guess I should let Jacob know that really quick. Jacob Paris just figured out the issue is that the beat.config file we have for remix.run has a .mts file extension. So code mod was automatically skipping it. I guess, is that something that Jacob can, like, does he determine this, or is this code mod's defaults? And maybe Moab, you know this. Also, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name like a Texan. Um, but this include pattern, is this like the default, or did Jacob set that for his code mod? I would assume the latter, that Jacob set that, because otherwise, like, code mods would only. Oh, okay, cool. Moab. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Well, I just need a node. Yeah, he can specify it. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, probably just needs to. I don't know. This is a corner case. I don't even know if he wants to account for it. I'm glad I figured it out. It's not a big deal. There is a default pattern we have, but the code mod authors can override it. Cool. That's good to know. Anyway, I'll just let him know it was automatically skipping. Let me find this file just so I can show him remix website. Nope. Oh my gosh, this is not what I want. Go away. .mts. I just figured out the issue with the beat config file we have for the for remix.run. TS file extension, so code mod was automatically skipping it. Cool. No Biggie. Glad his code mod actually works, and it was my fault, sort of. Okay, so back to the code mod. So it enables the flag. It does the global things if you need it. It includes the single fetch type defs, so that's cool. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So I like what I like is that these are um like kind of global one-time things, and then all of these I would do one by one per file. And I think that's the main feedback I'd have for him. Is it'd be I almost wonder if there should be two recipes because I don't really. This one maybe could be. This one I'm kind of on the fence. Um, I don't because I'm gonna run this and I'll show you everything it looks like because it's gonna be kind of crazy. So let's do this. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. Um, actually, let's undo this, delete that file, and then get this thing restored. I need to save these two because we've updated the type or the remix package. So we'll just say update remix packages. We'll commit that one. Let's undo. I want to see it work. I'm just going to copy this part. So we'll undo all this stuff. And now let's run the entire code mod. Hey, it's Pedro. I have a question for you. But I'm not going to tell you it yet because you were late. No, I'm just kidding. You were not expected to be here. But I do have a question. And I want to get your information on it because I was confused about something. Yes, I want to download the latest. This is interesting. Why? I'm curious why that's even the default is to not download the latest. I don't know. Anyway, the code mod you're trying to run is a recipe. Do you wish to run all of them? So yes, and then it is cool. It runs everything, but it's going to change a lot of stuff. And I don't think this is the recommended path for this specific upgrade. So I almost wish that yeah, this was maybe two recipes. I don't know, but that's kind of confusing. Or just multi-steps. Maybe we should need to clarify that. Caching for performance. That makes sense, Mohab. But at the same time, if it's updated, it's better. I don't know. I get it. If you're doing a lot of updates. In your case, in case you're running the same code mod over and over, you might not want to download every time. Oh, I totally agree. Sorry. No, I'm not saying don't cache it. That's great, cache it. I just was like, hey, there's a new one. Do you want to upgrade this? And the default is no. And if I'm just going through the flow really fast, I worry I would miss that, and then I'd be missing an actual fix to the code mod. Where it's I feel the default is yeah, always use the latest thing, but no, don't download that latest thing if it already exists. Okay, cool. Thanks for parsing my words. Pedro, did you stream today or no? Are you done streaming? That you finished the route stuff? I feel you've been on such a roll. Okay, let's see. So it updated a bunch of things. So Pedro, this is where I'm gonna have a question for you in a little bit. Oh wait, what is going on? Did I think this one's wrong. Figure this out in a second. Not yet. Okay, not yet. Okay, so it goes through and it does a bunch of stuff, which is super interesting. Really cool stuff. So tries to update all your headers and everything. I still need to shave. See, that's the nice thing about not being able to grow facial hair, Pedro, is you never have to shave to get ready for a stream. Um, so just I don't know, just trying to gloat over trying to find the bright side in my genetics because it does make me sad I can't grow facial hair. So all these update the headers and stuff, which is cool, but this honestly might be it might be a lot to update this all at once. I'm actually okay. Yeah, but it is cool. It's cool that it does this. I would just maybe want to do this route by route. Which isn't this is not code mod didn't do anything wrong here. It's more me just thinking through how we message this. Sweet. Thank you, Moab. That's great. I have the cursive fast. Yeah, just body beard growth. Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's not better. If you keep growing it out, will it eventually like fill in, or is it just always going to be spotty, or you've never tried? That's funny. This one's dead. Okay, so I want to actually, I'm going to keep this one up and I'm going to undo everything here. I just want to see what it would do. So this is the first thing. I'm pretty sure this is wrong, which is unfortunate. So the type inference stuff. So this is Pedro, where I'm going to actually have questions for you. Oh, gosh. Why did that blow up? It blew up because I'm not running the server. Okay, so your wife has strongly advised against any attempts. That's great because my wife has strongly advised me to try and grow a mustache like multiple times. Uh, Weird fixation with mustaches. Don't know what that's about. We'll maybe our therapist can like handle that or something someday. Uh, but I kept telling her I cannot grow a mustache, and then she really wanted me to try, so I grew it for as long as I could stand it, and it was just disgusting and like looked like a 14-year-old, trying to grow their mustache for the first time, and tried to explain that to her, and then I think eventually she got it that it just wasn't gonna happen. 100%. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. So what was I doing? I was trying to find this thing, this single fetch.d.ts. I think this is going to the wrong place. Yeah, this is not supposed to be in the include. This is incorrect. This is supposed to be in types. This is where I have a question. So Pedro, be paying attention. Stop thinking about mustaches. Um, okay, so I include this, and it totally shouldn't be this. Wait, why? That was super weird. I don't actually understand what that code mod's doing. I need to talk to him about that. Anyway, so we included this remix run. I'll make sure that it's actually the right thing, just to make sure that code mod didn't do something weird. So we added that, and then I was trying to figure out why the heck did we add that? What does this do? And if I'm reading it, it sounds like, well, one, actually, sorry, I realized I have, not this one. Ooh, don't get all my secrets. I have a .env example. No, what am I doing? Sorry, I have the types. That's what I'm looking for. M.d, too many ends. So I have these types declared here. So this is one question actually, because you say down here, make sure that the single fetch types come after any remix packages. Is this going to be a problem and cause like a conflict if these two, if you have like the .d.ts, because this is an old pattern we did, it overrides the types for use loader data and use action data and use fetcher. Okay, that's what I thought, but I don't think it does it in the way that I expected. So we're gonna try it. Anyway, so that's one question: is there a problem if you have like a m.d.ts file? So that's one thing. Just to maybe we should clarify that if it is a problem. And then second, so I'm just gonna move these over just in case it is a problem. And then second, I'm gonna create an example of what I assume that this is supposed to be doing, and show you that the types are not doing what I expected to be doing. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I want to restart the TS server. Okay, so I've got all my types in there. This is mad. I don't know why. Oh no, that's something else. Okay. Also, geez, sorry. No, I should be doing the no cache. There we go. And then we restarted that. Perfect. Good question. I'm not sure in what order d.ts files resolve compared to the types field. Okay, cool. I don't know. Maybe it's something we call out or just warn about. Because the common practice has been to put them in here anyway, more recently, which I like. One less file. Okay, so I'm gonna go to an example. Showcase. This is what I've been messing with all day. Let's make sure we still have it. Okay, cool. So we do have it pulled up. Yeah, great. All right, so, and then my understanding is shouldn't be a problem with the remix node types. Oh, did I just read wrong what it said? You said make sure the single fetch types come after any other remix packages and types so that they can override those existing types. Okay, got it. What are the problems and like why are we even saying this? Maybe in practice it doesn't matter since we only advise people to put the runtime pack. package types into invalid? I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe it doesn't. It's not a huge deal. I just saw a big warning, and so then I got warned. This is the real problem. Okay, that I see. So you're saying like, hey, with single fetch, naked objects will be streamed directly. That makes sense. So the built-in type inference is no longer accurate. Totally valid. Once you have opted into single fetch, for example, they would assume that a date would be serialized to a string on the client. So that's how the old version worked. But now I have the new version. So instead of what I have, I'm going to, let me duplicate that. I'm just going to return this. Let's make sure all the types are good still. So we're going to go down here, not to the meta one. We got showcase examples. Yeah, cool. Everything looks right to me. Now I want to return like a date, like you said. That's a great example, right? So previously, this would be serialized, and I would see the type of this as string, correct? So now I should see it as the type of date, right? Type string. It doesn't look like it did anything. Am I just misunderstanding what this is doing? Yo, nope. uh, also, there's probably a delay in the stream, so I'm sorry. It's returning JSONify object. Let's just do this. Okay. Oh, see, okay, so this is, wait, actually, I'm not sure I understand. What? Oh, okay, so, okay. Wow, that's like super specific. That makes sense. I get it, because my understanding is this plays really well with like if you're using the define loader, and that's great. I just think this is confusing a little bit because it sounds like just add this and now naked returns are going to be good, but like you just pointed out, the reality is like no, if you're using this loader function args, it's still going to be the old way essentially. So yeah, I think that just needs to be clarified. I think it just needs to be said that like this isn't going to do really anything on its own. You have to use it with these guys. Whereas like the way it was written, these are two. Let me pull this out. This isn't a criticism. If this is coming out as criticism, I apologize. I'm really truly just trying to like think through it. Okay, this is all the type inference section. Part of this is our freaking headers. These look the exact same actually. Is this a bug? What is the, oh gosh. What am I looking for? Size. Font size is 1.25. Ooh, that seems wrong. Yep. Okay, that's not your fault that the H4 and the H3 are the exact same font size. Oof. Okay, that's not good. My bad. Okay, that was one problem. I was thinking these are like separate sections, whereas this is a nested section. So that makes more sense because it's like, hey, you're reading through the entire type inference thing. So I think that's a big part of what I was confused about because I was thinking, oh, you can just do this and now naked object returns are good, like or are better, at least more inferred correctly without these. But it's more like step one, turn this on. Step two, update to use these things, and you'll be good. The migration path is that you don't have to change loader function args to get your app running correctly. Right, exactly. But you do need to remove loader function args to get correct types. Exactly. Yep. Okay, cool. So, oh my gosh, you and your hashtags, I can't handle it. We should have a type inference section. Yes, I agree. So here's where now that you're here, I can actually bounce this off you a little bit better. So here's kind of how I'm thinking of redoing this whole thing. Um, is just like first having an enable, I went too much, enable single fetch section. That's just like the straight up like you don't have to do anything as long if you were using JSON and defer and all these kind of things, if all these things are true, you don't have to do much. Just turn this thing on. Hey, if you're using install globals, set native fetch to true. However, if you're on Node, just get rid of install globals totally. So I have that little disclaimer. And then I thought I needed this section, but this is not true. This should not be here. That would be confusing. And then there's like a little call out to say like you can't use render to string. You have to use render to pipeable string, so we can include that in here. And then we can go down here. So we'll get to the migration in a second. So that's the enable single fetch. I think that's like the first thing you should see with a little bit of explanation of what single fetch is. And then we have, hey, breaking changes. This is how it broke. So we got turbo stream, streaming format. That's a different streaming format, so that's different. Naked object returns are not automatically serialized anymore, so you need to know that, which we probably will have had a caveat up here about that. And then the revalidation change, and then that the header functions is no longer doing anything. So these are like the things you need to know, like by turning this on, this all just worked, but you may have accidentally broken some things or changed some behavior that you didn't realize. And now here's the migration that we want to say, like the route by route migration update is largely about type safety, like you're exactly saying. So you need to enable that, like you were saying, and then you can update your loaders and your actions, which I think Jacob is going to work on like a code mod that will do this, which is really cool. And then, yeah, once you do those, then you remove the JSON defer in favor of returning naked objects and mutating the response. And I think that's it. And then remove, I don't know if we needed to say like remove header here because we already kind of pointed out it's not used, but maybe whatever. Anyway, so that's kind of how I'm thinking of reorging this. We shouldn't have a type inference section. Oh, we shouldn't have a type inference section. We should just tell people to use it. Yeah, I agree. Exactly. So that's kind of what I was thinking is use define loader, use define action, those things. That should just be explicit about this is the migration guide. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think that's how I'm going to write it. I think this was helpful to think through. Anything that feels like it's missing here from anyone who's been watching? I've got 8 viewers still out of 40 and Pedro as well. That's fine if you haven't been totally not jeez. If you haven't totally been digesting all this, that's cool as well. And then getting back to the code mod, my feedback will be for Jacob and even for us, how we talk about it. Basically, it's going to be 1, 2. Yeah, these two to me should just be 1 anyway. And that's like turn single fetch on basically. And then this plus like a define loader one or whatever, the define loader action would be pretty cool to be like, hey, here's how to get type inference. It'd probably break things, but it's fine. And then these all are like, hey, let's go. I don't know. It's probably all still. Anyway, all of these are like, hey, do this route by route because you can run these over a specific route. That's actually pretty easy to do. I did this recently. I'm trying to remember how it worked. It was like npx, that thing, and then I think it's just like path. Gosh, let's do app /app/routes/extras. Let me redo this. .showcase.tsx. Let's see if that runs. So yeah, you can run these. Yeah, that's fine. Run it anyway. Downloading. Blah 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 blah. I don't know if I set that correctly actually. Maybe it's not /p. Maybe it's something else. Because I feel like that just ran. Yeah, just ran over a bunch of stuff. Where's the docs on this thing? How do I run this over? Where's the what CLI? That's what I'm looking for. Oh, I think it was supposed to be I. What is P? Did I just make that up? Oh, T. That's what I was looking for. I was thinking P path, T target. Okay. I think that's what I meant to do. So let's undo all these. Let's try that one more time just to make sure I can do this correctly. Because I like this. I like that you can run this over like, oh my gosh, specific things. Oh my gosh, this is like freaking out because it doesn't have enough room. Hold on. Let me restart this terminal. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna try it over T this time and see if it works. Trying it over T. That sounds really lovely. And let me read what Pedro's saying. Okay, so Pedro said, nope, it's all good. We shouldn't, yeah. I think we're missing a happy path section. Like if I write a new route, how do I do it? Yeah, that's actually a good point too. Um, yeah, and maybe that's like, yeah, up here, just like maybe show an example of a happy path route. Oh, yes. Um, yeah, I like that. And then happy green actually. Like one, enable single fetch, two, author a new route with that. Yeah, and then three, migrating. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I agree. So maybe this isn't even in the enabling, but I don't know. I'll think about it, but I think you could just show it like right here. But then you're introducing all these APIs, and are you ready for that? I don't know. Because I do want to talk about the breaking changes, and maybe that should be talked about first. Maybe it is that. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's like enable. What did I just do? Yeah. Enable breaking changes, happy path, and then migration. And then what were the other things you said? You said feels like introducing the north start idea star. Yeah, of define loader, define action earlier, grounds the migration. I agree. I like that because then you understand. You're about to say it since you know what you were heading for. North star. Okay, sorry, I should have read all your messages. Yeah, yeah, I love that. I think that's it. I think that's what I'm missing. Is it's like a we had hydrogen folks give us feedback that it's like, hey, it feels like I kind of have to do not a directory. How's that not a directory? Is that not a directory? App slash routes slash, sorry, underscore extras dot showcase. What? Uh, huh? Copy relative path. Let's try this one more time. Probably just spelled it wrong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the main things that the hydrogen team was missing is one, they thought they had to do everything to get single fetch just running and working, so that's not good. And then two, they thought, yeah, yeah. So sorry, that handles that. It handles like what do you actually have to do to get it running. And then they thought, yeah, to migrate, they basically, yeah, they had to migrate everything all at once, and we don't want to give that we don't want to give that impression. Is this really not a directory? This seems like a directory. Oh, a directory. Gosh. Oh, I don't want a directory. I want I just want a file. The following options can be used. Defined by the code mod. So that's an entire folder. So here you can just use a general thing. So maybe I is what I want. Whatever. Let me try with I. Very bad at reading documentation, as you can all tell. I just want it to be really easy. I actually just want to know all the. I want to know all the information without having to read anything. I'm so lost. Why can't this find? What am I doing wrong? How are no files found? Since redirect is, oh, am I using, oh yeah, since redirect is not going to be used anymore, please, the response stubs response is mutable and we don't have to, I'm sorry, hold on. I'm not understanding this exactly. Please, that response stubs response is mutable and we don't have to return or throw. I'm not sure if I actually understand the question. It's possible Pedro understands what is being asked. Correct you if you're wrong. Also, this is a good question. I'm not sure if redirect is going to be used anymore or not. There was some conversation internally. Maybe I'm trying to find some internal conversations to see. I don't know. Pedro might know if we're doing that or not. I think that's what Estelle is saying. Please mention. Got it. Thank you. Like the return value is the payload, not the response. Yeah. Cements model return. The response is no longer accurate. Yeah, it's not accurate. Yeah. Thanks, Marcel. Yeah. Yeah, we need to be more explicit about that. I think, and like the breaking changes. Um, it's more than it's more than just the naked objects returns are no longer automatically serialized. It's really that like you're no longer returning um, responses. Yeah, that's what it is. We're still designing the response stub. Yeah, yeah, Pedro's right. So some of this will get more clear, but hopefully this like gives the structure a little bit better to where we can include these things a little bit better. Okay, cool. So my only problem is I just can't figure out how to get my freaking the code mod to just go over the things I wanted to go over. So I'm trying this now. Let's see if this works. I have no idea what's going on. No files to process were found in the specified. Is it just not? What am I doing wrong here? Dot slash app slash routes. Maybe no dot slash. Maybe I'm trying too hard. I do often do that. Okay, so now you found it. All right, I didn't realize the dot slash. And you know Micelle. No wait, it wasn't Micelle. It was I'm getting it mixed up. I'm sorry. Mohab. Do you have any idea if you're still watching why I can't do like dot slash when I'm doing the dash I? Like why does that fail? Not a big deal. I just didn't expect it, I guess. Maybe it would be helpful. I don't know. Yeah, interesting. Okay, not a big deal. So now I can do showcase. Actually, let me just do extras. So yeah, maybe I want to like update all the extras. I'm just going to do all these routes first. This is kind of how I would want people to use this code mod, I think. So cool. Get the blog. Then I can go through this, this, and this. But yeah, this is going to be super helpful once we have the define loader stuff, like define loader and define action code mod. That'll be really cool. But this is all unstable, so I kind of am a little bit nervous about Jacob like introducing this stuff really fast. I think it's good for me to mess around with, and I'll keep messing around with it and like trying to use it as he's developing it. I'm hesitant to put it in these docs until like we have the final form of it ready, and then we vetted them maybe one more time, and then we can put them in here, and then people see Pedro. Thank you for coming, and thank you for answering my questions about type stuff. And then yeah, and then people will have like a really smooth migration guide. So they'll come in, they can say, okay, cool. This is how I turn single fetch on. This is what it does. These are the things it changes. Here's how I like make a net new, or like now I know everything is working, just by default. Assuming I was like using JSON defer already, so I can just ship this. Make sure it doesn't break in production or staging and all those kind of environments. And then here's how I'd author a new route using single fetch. So I totally can understand like all the APIs that we have. And then here's like the recommended how you would migrate. And yeah, that's it. Okay, cool. All right, thanks everyone for hanging out. I have to pee and eat lunch. And yeah, but I'm gonna keep working on this. This was super, yeah, this was really helpful just to think out loud for a while. I didn't write as much as I expected, but this was fun to go through these code mods. This code mod is super cool. I mean, thank you so much for yeah, no problem, Michelle. Thank you so much for code mod team and for Mohab for jumping on the stream and looking at this. This was really cool. I really like the idea of these recipes, and I just, yeah, I think this is awesome. I think there's a lot of like good stuff. Um, total run 17. The 16 of those are probably me, and one is just Jacob testing it, and the hydrogen team actually. Um, yeah, this is a cool website and a cool idea, and I love like the idea of the like the registry or whatever for this to share and everything. Yeah, if you go to like the registry, you can see you got Next.js, you got React Router. Apparently, it's a framework. That's good. Although you only have frameworks, you don't have anything besides frameworks. So I guess everything's a framework. Anyway, I don't know why Remix isn't on here. It's not a framework. Whatever. But yeah, React Router, a lot of stuff will go into that. They've already got some, which is cool. So yeah, I'm really interested in our team potentially using this website for, or not website slash package or library and everything, authoring experience, all that jazz, to potentially do our own code mods when we're doing remix to React Router 7. Okay, I'm just rambling at this point. Thanks everyone for coming. I'm gonna end the stream now. Bye.